This is a true flat sketchbook by a company out in California called Luchetti. I saw them on social media recently. What struck me was the claim that it's lay flat and the fact that it has 600 GSM paper, that's 600 grams per square meter. That's a really rigid paper. I have not painted in a sketchbook like that. In fact, I haven't been maintaining a regular sketchbook practice with my painting. I still sketch using ink and pencil in a sketchbook, but in terms of painting, I kind of gave up on it, and part of that was because of the nature of sketchbook paper. A lot of times it's too thin, it's not durable enough, and there's a gutter in the middle where you have to kind of stop your composition, you have to stop your pencil line or your brush stroke in the middle of the spread, and I like to cover the entire spread. So this sketchbook caught my eye naturally. They claim that the paper, it won't buckle, it's 600 GSM paper. They claim that it's a lay flat sketchbook, and so I'm gonna just go through this and check it out with you and see if it lives up to the hype. If this works the way Luchetti claims, I'm going to start painting in a sketchbook again. I actually bought two of these sketchbooks. I bought a black one and a brown one. They both came shrink wrapped in their own boxes inside a larger shipping box. The outside of the box says, "Goodbye gutters, hello flow." That's a great slogan. It actually was funny because it confused my wife. We had just finished trying to de-ice the ice dams that are on our house gutters, and she thought I went out and ordered something for the gutters. But that's a great slogan. It speaks to the lack of a gutter in the spine of the book where you fold it. So we'll see how that plays out. The sketchbook feels substantial. It has a vegan leather cover. It has 22 pages. That means there are 22 possible spreads that I can paint fully across. And I love that because I love the wide landscape panoramic orientation. So 22 of these, and the paper is cold press, which means it's textured, it's rough, which is perfect for watercolor painting. It's the type of paper I always paint on. And it's 600 GSM, or grams per square meter. That's a very thick, rigid paper. And I have painted on 600 GSM paper before. Here's an example. This is an Arches 600 GSM piece of paper. You can see how thick and durable it is, and it's comparable to this. I would say they're pretty much the same. So I can confirm that this paper is very thick, and it seems rigid enough to withstand a pretty heavy amount of water. Now they call this a lay flat sketchbook. Look at that. You can basically draw over this gutter, paint over it without stopping. What bothered me so much about other sketchbooks that I've used is you're pretty much confined to the area on one side of a spread, and you could go across the gutter, but this way it's actually so much more fun for me. I like to paint in this wide panoramic format, so I'm really looking forward to trying this out. And if you're wondering, there's no funky odor. It has a nice, luxurious, leather-bound smell to it. Nothing strange about it. I paint mainly with watercolors and sometimes gouache on black paper. If this handles watercolor the way they claim it does, well, Luchetti, I'm going to start painting in sketchbooks again. So I'm going to start a new painting. I've got a roll of tape here underneath the cover just so that I can make sure the cover doesn't go down because of gravity. But you can see that the paper is flat. The gutter here is practically non-existent. Let's see how this holds up. I'm laying down a heavy layer of water. I'm going to be painting some sky and some reflections in the water. This is about as heavy as a wash as we're going to see in one of my paintings. Here you can see that the pages are curling, but that's to be expected after any kind of paper is initially soaked in water. This is about 5 minutes after I've laid down the wash. This is about 15 minutes later, and you can see that the pages are starting to flatten out again. 30 minutes after laying down the heavy wash, the paper is nearly flat again. This is pretty good. No complaints here. And I'll continue on with the rest of the painting. So I'm just going to finish up a few things, add a little bit more contrast, and then this will be the end of the test. So we can see this paper is held up really well. There's no bleed on the other side. There's minimal curling of the pages. I'm okay with that because once we lay the sketchbook flat and shut it, that will take care of that. I'm also okay with the minimal pooling of the pigment here in the middle. Even though it's a true lay flat sketchbook, I think it's acceptable to have a little bit of pooling of the pigment. It's actually not that much. It's not as visible as it first was when I laid down the wash. So I used a heavy wash on this. You saw that I painted all the way across. I loaded my brush with a lot of water, top and bottom, and I went back into it after it dried in several phases. And here we have the final painting. It's a view of the Palisades across the Hudson River. That's the view that we get of New Jersey from here in Upper Manhattan, Washington Heights. One of my favorite views to paint. There's so many pros about this sketchbook. It's true lay flat. It's durable, thick 600 GSM paper. There's no bleed through in the back. It's got a great cover. I'm very happy with the results here. So what are some of the cons of this sketchbook? Well, it's not a conventional size. It's square, it's a little bulky, it's a little on the heavier side, and it's pricier than the typical sketchbook of just 22 pages. It could be a little intimidating for someone who is just seeking some paper to doodle on. So who is this sketchbook for? If you take your sketchbook seriously, whether it's doodling, using wet media, painting outside, painting at home, I think this is a great option. As someone who loves to paint wherever I am, whether it's on the plane, traveling, during my commute, this is getting me excited to paint in a sketchbook again. See the direct link to buy this in the description below. I'm Francis Shui. I'm a working artist based in New York City. Check out this other video where I reviewed a camera arm that I'm currently using for this setup. Like, share, and subscribe to see more about my artwork and my processes. I love to share tips and tricks, especially from the point of view of someone who started art later in life. Until the next time, go and paint.